Hello again, everyone. It's great seeing you again, and thanks for joining us. So this Sunday's edition of Alaska Weather, 16th day of May 2021. I'm Dave Percy, a meteorologist with the National Weather Service, and I'll be hosting today's show. Up first, let's see, breakup map, I believe. That's it for the 16th of May. We've got starting to open up a little more there on the Koyukuk River, or the Kobuk River. And the Koyukuk River is mostly open now, except for the upper stretch. And the Noatak River is still mostly ice, although over toward Noatak there is some open area there. And then the North Slope River is still iced up. Yukon River, mostly open there, up past the Porcupine River. And then really all the way out to the Delta, even out the mouth there, some open ice, and that's about it. Moving on to the hazardous weather graphic, we've got frost warnings out for the southeast coast for tonight, and specifically from 2 a.m. tonight, tomorrow morning, Monday morning, to 8 a.m. Monday morning. Expecting temperatures could get down into the, I believe, the mid to upper 20s or so, like that. So if you've had any plants outside that need to be brought in, probably be a good time to do it. Later tonight. Possible frost in that area, or I guess that's for a killing freeze. Anyway, no other watches, warnings, or advisories out anywhere else in the state for the next couple of days or more. Actually, no big storms at all heading in toward mainland Alaska, or even out in the Bering Sea for that matter. And you can see a lot of clouds out over the Bering Sea with clearing areas as well. Look like a pretty sunny day there for the Alaska Peninsula Aleutian Range area from Bristol Bay on down to partly sunny skies for the eastern Aleutians. A little bit of clearing, but that was south of the Pribilof, St. Paul, St. George, right in the middle of a pretty thick cloud deck there, as well as the central Aleutians. Yukon River there from about 10 and on out to the Delta, pretty clear. A lot of sunshine there in the western interior areas into the northern Bering Sea. Also the Yukon Flats up toward Arctic Village, some clearing. And Gulf of Alaska, south central clouds with some sunshine as well as showers going on over the northern panhandle. Juneau carrying some light rain showers during the afternoon hours. They picked about 0.04 of an inch of precipitation in the last 12 hours. Otherwise, shower activity, Kuskokwim Valley, Sparrowvon, western Alaska Range, 1/10 of an inch. Fairbanks also picked up a little over 1/10 of an inch of showers today. Wetting rains. If it's 1/10 of an inch or more, it's called a wetting rain. Soaking rains, 1/2 inch or more in, I believe, a 24-hour or less period there. Northway also picking up about 1/10 of an inch of precipitation. And Cordova and Yakutat, both either side of 1/10 of an inch in the last 12 hours. Otherwise, that's about it for the precipitation. Wind, really not much of a factor. McGrath had, gusts from the west-southwest, 25 miles an hour wind gusts at McGrath, and Anvik 20-25 miles an hour, but quite windy, or quite a little windier there up along the northwest coast. Kivalina seeing gusts 35 to close to 40 miles an hour out of the north-northeast, and that's kind of the exception. Pretty light winds over the north slope in the interior as well as the Bering Sea. On the chart today, you see high pressure, one center just north of the western Aleutians with some clearing there, 1,025 millibars, actually ridging right up in across the Russian Far East there. So dry conditions, light winds, Aleutian, Bering Sea. That gradient there with a high just west of the northwest coast and then the low over the interior. That's enough to kick those winds up close to 40 miles an hour in gusts, Kivalina. Otherwise, pretty light winds elsewhere. A little breezy in the afternoon, maybe some isolated thunderstorms showing up over the eastern interior, but showers a little more prominent than any thunderstorm activity. As I mentioned, anywhere from 0.05 to 0.15 of an inch falling in some areas in the green shaded zones there into the mostly the northern panhandle. And some flurries, eastern Beaufort Sea coast today brought about 0.03 of an inch water equivalent to Dead Horse, and that'll probably may continue into the night tonight. Actually, anywhere up along the north slope in the Arctic coast could see some light snow flurries, snow showers, low clouds, fog conditions, but winds will be light. Interior light winds, mostly clear and definitely dry central and western interior. Chance of showers along the Alaska Range, scattered showers along the western Alaska Range. Even Copper River Basin isolated to widely scattered showers, and shower chances continue up through the greater Fairbanks area, Tanana Valley up into maybe the Koyukuk Valley, and chance of showers mainly over the southern coast of the Panhandle. Look for increasing clearing or mostly cloudy skies with the light winds, and variably cloudy to mostly cloudy for Kodiak Island, but dry. Looks like any isolated shower activity be hung up in the Aleutian Range. And for tomorrow, winds stay light out over the Aleutians. Low clouds and fog possible anywhere out there, along with clearing possible anywhere out there as well, with high pressure dominating that entire area right up through the Bering Strait with light winds and dry conditions. Still a chance of snow flurries, fog, low clouds, North Slope, Brooks Range on out to the Arctic coast for areas of IFR throughout the day. Slowly improving in the afternoon for the Brooks Range area like Anatuvik, Adigan Pass, probably becoming marginal VFR instead of the IFR you'll start out with. Risk of some isolated thunderstorms, eastern interior, Chena area, White Mountains, mountainous terrain just north of Fairbanks, and probably some showers scattered around the Copper River Basin, Susitna, Matanuska Valley to the western Alaska Range. Partly sunny Kenai Peninsula, Cook Inlet, maybe mostly sunny Kodiak Island, western interior looking really good. Light winds, mostly sunny skies, low clouds and fog over the along the coast, also out over the Bering Sea and the Aleutians. Chance of showers continues there for the Panhandle. And the outlook on Tuesday, high pressure still over the Bering Sea, kind of right off the southwest coast, Yukon Delta coast there, the center. To the south, we've got a system coming up, beginning to increase the winds a little bit there for the eastern Aleutians, and just a slight chance of some precipitation reaching Atka Island, maybe Nikolsky. Wouldn't take much more of a northward shift there to put you in periods of rain, but right now, as the way it looks now, just a chance of some rain in the afternoon, a little bit of an increase in the winds, nothing strong. Winds stay light over the northern central Bering Sea with general area of higher pressure there for the western Aleutians, so light winds there as well. Less of that snow shower flurry activity, maybe an increase in the clearing there for the North Slope. And again, afternoon thunderstorms possible over the eastern interior, eastern Alaska Range, Tanana Valley, 40-mile country into the Yukon. And a risk of showers lingers. Lingering showers will linger over the southern Panhandle, at least a chance of that, and better chance of some sunshine central and northern southeast coast. Looking pretty good, mostly sunny North Gulf Coast, Prince William Sound, Cook Inlet, Kenai Peninsula, Kodiak Island, Bristol Bay, mostly sunny, partly sunny along the Yukon-Kuskokwim Delta areas to the Seward Peninsula and the Bering Strait, as well as the northwest part of the state and the North Slope. And for the low temperatures for tonight, upper 30s to lower 40s, Panhandle, upper 30s to mid 40s, south central Alaska, near 40 Kodiak Island, upper 30s, Bristol Bay, mid 30s there in the Copper River Basin, northern Kuskokwim Valley. Interior, lower to mid 30s to lower 40s there, depending on where you're at, say 41 at Fairbanks to 33 at Tanana. Otherwise, 20s for the Brooks Range, North Slope on out to the Arctic coast, as well as the Seward Peninsula, upper 20s, Yukon Delta, St. Lawrence Island, mid 30s there for the Pribilofs, upper 30s for the Aleutians to near 40 in the Alaska Peninsula. Highs tomorrow, 55 to 63, Copper River Basin, 50s to maybe lower 60s to Susitna Valley, but 50s Kenai Peninsula, mid to upper 50s Bristol Bay and the Kuskokwim Valley, with 50s for the Panhandle, and the interior there, 55 to 65, call it for the central interior, upper 30s to lower 40s for the Brooks Range, and in the 30s for the North Slope, and then upper 20s to lower 30s for the Arctic coast, including Shishmaref, the Kotzebue up to 35, 38 for the high end Nome, near the frost point there for Savunga, and St. Paul, 40 for your high, mid 40s central Aleutians, and upper 40s for the Alaska Peninsula. And then for the morning lows on Tuesday, 30s to lower 40s over southern Alaska, interior in the 30s, lower 30s as you head into the Koyukuk-Kobuk Valley area to 25 or 20s to near 30 for the Alaska Range or for the Brooks Range, and the North Slope 20s for the Panhandle or for the Arctic coast into the Bering Strait, upper 20s there for St. Lawrence Island, mid 30s for the Pribilofs, mid to upper 30s for the Aleutians, to near 40 for the Alaska Peninsula. Highs on Tuesday, a little warmer, more sunshine, so 55 to 65 south central Alaska, in the 50s Kuskokwim Valley, lower 60s Copper River Basin, and mid 50s for the Panhandle, Kodiak Island, up in the central interior, 58 to 62, east side to upper 30s for the Seward Peninsula.
And now, aviation weather around Alaska.
Moving on to the first line weather graphic, you can see a lot of IFR. First line weather graphic for Monday morning. IFR, eastern central Bering Sea, Atka Island eastward to Falls Pass, and then in across the northern or the Yukon-Kuskokwim Delta, St. Lawrence Island into the Bering Strait, and then more IFR north slope to the Arctic coast, and some of that spilling south of the mountains in the form of marginal VFR into the Kobuk Valley, or just east of, I'm sorry, the Koyukuk Valley, or just east of there, down toward the Yukon River. Pretty good VFR for the most part in the interior, some marginal stuff over the mountainous terrain, especially south central Alaska, Cook Inlet, Kenai Peninsula, Prince William Sound, east side of Kodiak, across the Gulf to the northern Panhandle, and some mix of marginal VFR, VFR, and IFR over the southwest Bering, western Aleutians. For the afternoon forecast, that's shaping up a little better over the interior, some isolated thunderstorms developing over the central and eastern interior along the Alaska Range. And IFR, though, holds over the North Slope and Arctic coast, and out over the central and eastern Bering Sea, IFR, north shores of the Alaska Peninsula from Bristol Bay all the way down to Fox Islands, ADAC now in the IFR zone, as well as the Pribilofs, and marginal VFR, southern and eastern Kodiak Island up into Prince William Sound, but tending to improve even there tomorrow afternoon, then along the eastern North Gulf Coast and along the coast of the Panhandle. And for the morning for Tuesday, VFR in the interior, IFR now maybe into the Kobuk Valley, northern Kobuk Valley, up across the North Slope and Arctic coast, a band along the southwest coast, pushing inland across the Yukon-Kuskokwim Delta, Bristol Bay, and just about all the Aleutians now in the IFR zone, as well as the Pribilof Islands, Kodiak, IFR, Shelikof Strait, and Fognak Island, otherwise VFR on the east side there, and the Gulf of Alaska, North Gulf Coast, into Prince William Sound, marginal VFR, and some of that trying to push into the inside waters, but not having a very successful time doing that over the Panhandle. For the afternoon, that retreats back off the coast, nothing but VFR for the southeast coast. And the interior, really good until you get up toward the Brooks Range, pick up some marginal VFR. The north of the mountains, IFR for the north slope, most of the Arctic coast. Again, chance of isolated thunderstorms, east side, north of the Alaska Range, south of the Brooks Range, and quite an area of IFR persisting, but now pulled back to the west over the central Bering Sea on down to the west central Aleutians. Pretty good VFR for Nikolsky, Dutch Harbor on Alaska, as well as Atka. And Kodiak not looking too shabby, as well as Norton Sound and Seward Peninsula. And for passes Anatuvik, IFR becoming marginal in the afternoon. Upward trend for Adigan as well. Don't think they'll become VFR, but they could in the late afternoon. Lake Clark and Merrill, better chance of VFR, noontime or after, or at any point in the day. And for Rainy, same thing, marginal at times, otherwise VFR. Windy, marginal at times, otherwise VFR. And Isabel, solid VFR, nothing but VFR from Antasta. Tanita, maybe some marginal VFR early, then VFR throughout the remainder of the day. Portage, same forecast, marginal VFR becomes VFR in the afternoon. Chilcoot and White, improving to VFR flying conditions for the afternoon, Monday into evening. Freezing levels, 2,000 to 4,000 feet, southwest interior Bristol Bay, up into the eastern interior there. And 2,000 to 4,000 feet, Gulf of Alaska into the Panhandle, and 2,000 feet just south of the Aleutians. Icing, not a whole lot. The eastern interior, that's areas of potential mixed icing. Light, very isolated on the moderate. They're just elevated, just a threat really. Also for the southern Panhandle, doesn't look like anything too serious, but a more extensive area of icing with that system way out toward the Komodorsky Islands, staying west of Shimei and Attu. Otherwise pretty good, basically icing free everywhere else. And the jet stream, strongest jet near the Aleutians, 70 to 100 knots there, strongest just south of southwest of Shimei and Attu, and then well south of the Panhandle, right into the Washington coast at about 110 knots. And then we've got across the Bering Sea, 55 to 65 knot westerlies, and those subside even further when they get in across southern Alaska. And for 9,000 feet, westerlies 35 knots, south side of that St. Lawrence Island low, and that's about it. 25 over the western Aleutians, light everywhere else. 3,000 feet, light variable winds, high pressure in the Bering Sea, but you can see the winds pick up with that system over Kamchatka Peninsula. And maybe 20 knots there for the Barren Islands from Kamishak Gap there out of the northwest, otherwise pretty light. Turbulence, none significant expected. After the break, I'll be back with marine forecasts.
kind of hard to explain how important weather is to our job. I mean, it really affects everything we do.
In 2018, NOAA launches the GOES-S satellite, which takes its place in orbit as GOES-17. Working together with GOES-16, the two new geostationary weather satellites will provide constant watch over the United States and the Western Hemisphere, from the west coast of Africa all the way to New Zealand, helping monitor severe storms, wildfires, and daily weather patterns. Since its launch, NOAA's GOES-16 satellite has already demonstrated its critical capability for keeping our nation weather ready. Throughout the active 2017 hurricane season, GOES-16 delivered imagery with detail and clarity never achieved before, with 4 times greater resolution than previous NOAA satellites, and delivered this imagery faster than ever before, helping forecasters predict the path of a storm and where and when it will intensify. These accurate and timely forecasts allowed for emergency managers to prepare for evacuations, map flood areas, and save lives.
So the weather matters. The weather matters before the weather happens, and the weather matters after the event happens, because what we're able to do to prepare, allocate resources, provide information to the public through the media beforehand, and what we're able to do afterwards, how and when the waters are going to recede, so we know we can get vehicles with life-saving food and shelter equipment down a particular highway. All of that depends on the forecast.
In the GOES West position, GOES-17 will be able to provide critical data for the westernmost United States, Alaska, and Hawaii.
We're talking about getting data updates in just seconds, so we can quickly spot wildfires and closely monitor the wind direction and their intensity. The crispness of the data coming in at a faster rate will also help with fog forecasts. We can see the moment the strata starts to develop or when it starts to move out.
Like GOES-16, GOES-17 carries a suite of advanced instruments, including tools for sophisticated earth sensing, lightning detecting, solar imaging, and space weather monitoring. As an equal partner in the sky, GOES-17 will expand coverage of the advanced baseline imager technology across the Pacific Ocean, allowing meteorologists and local officials to see severe weather systems developing in real time.
So instead of seeing something, say, this large, that as you zoom in actually gets kind of blurry, you're actually going to see something that is much more detailed.
In its GOES West position, GOES-17 will be able to monitor conditions in the western U.S. like wildfires, coastal fog, and atmospheric rivers when storms from the Pacific dump heavy rain and snow over the western U.S. GOES-17 will have a major impact on fighting wildfires in California. Up-to-the-minute information and crisp detail allows forecasters to spot fires faster than ever before, even before the first 911 calls come in, and to better track and predict the path of large, dynamic, and dangerous fires.
It's amazing to see what we can get and at the level of detail and the speed that we can get the information down into the ground that makes our decision-making way more accurate.
With a view of the Pacific Ocean, GOES-17 will also provide a critical eye over shipping lanes vital to the U.S. economy, protecting cargo and passenger vessels from dangerous ocean storms. GOES-17 will also provide a high-definition view over Alaska, resulting in better weather forecasts and improved monitoring of sea ice, wildfires, and volcanic ash. The advanced baseline imager on GOES-17 can distinguish between clouds, sea ice, and snow cover, a critical need during Alaska's dark, cloudy winter months. GOES-17's geostationary lightning mapper monitors lightning flashes, including the in-cloud lightning most prevalent in severe storms, helping forecasters determine when a storm is forming, intensifying, and becoming more dangerous. Thanks to GOES-17, emergency managers will be equipped with more accurate weather predictions and faster warnings, providing a real impact, saving lives, and protecting infrastructure. Watching over Earth from 22,300 miles above, GOES-S will provide vital data to our weather-ready nation.
Hi, I'm JPSS. I'm a high-tech weather satellite that orbits our planet. I do something called a polar orbit. I circle the Earth from North Pole to South Pole, over and over, while the Earth spins. While I do that, I get lots of information about what's going on around the globe. I watch storms, clouds, and rain. I take the temperature of the ocean, measure air quality, ozone health, and take pictures of the land and sea. This information is used for all kinds of things. It helps us take care of our coasts and oceans and all the amazing things that live there. It helps us monitor harmful weather events like floods and droughts and measure the health of the environment. Most importantly, it helps us predict weather 3 to 7 days in the future. That means I can be a big help ahead of storms, where future warnings are important. I send information to the National Weather Service. They use the information to create forecasts. The forecasts are shared with people all over the country to help prepare for weather emergencies. So you look to the sky and wave. I'll be flying by.
And now, marine weather around Alaska.
Back looking at today's sea ice analysis, still continuing to slowly thaw and diminish out there over the northern Bering Sea now, well north of St. Matthew Island, the area of ice-free water south and southwest of St. Lawrence Island also expanding, as well as a zone off the southwest coast. And the coastal water forecast for the Panhandle: light winds tomorrow, westerlies 10 to 15 knots, seas around 6 feet, and northwest at 10 for Stevens Passage. South winds 15 knots for northwest 10 for Clarence Strait, Stevens Passage south of 15, Lynn Canal south winds 20 knots, 4-foot seas. Then for Monday, south 15 for Lynn Canal. Otherwise, central, southern, and inside waters, variable winds 10 knots, seas 2 to 3 feet, and kind of a variable wind pattern out along the coast. Light wind pattern there, 10-knot winds, say from the north-northwest on the north coast to the east-northeast on the south coast, seas running 5 to 7 feet. Prince William Sound, east winds 15 knots, 2-foot seas tomorrow. South winds 10 to 15 knots for Cook Inlet. West and west-southwest breezes for 15 knots for Kamishak Bay and the Barren Islands, and the North Gulf Coast south to southwest at 10 knots. Light winds continue into Monday as well. Prince William Sound, southwest at 10. Cook Inlet, south to southwest 10 knots, seas 3 feet. West 15, Kamishak Bay. Barren Islands, southwest 15. Western North Gulf Coast, west winds 15 knots, seas 4 feet. Middleton Island area, south at 10. Bristol Bay, light westerlies tomorrow at 10 knots. The Alaska Peninsula looking at north winds 15 knots. Seas on the Bering side at 3 feet. South side 10 feet. And southwest at 10 knots there up towards Sitkinak. Picks up to 20 knots through Shelikof Strait from the southwest. Otherwise variable to north at 10 for the east side of Kodiak Island. West-southwest 15 knots for Kodiak Island with 3 to 6 foot seas on Monday. The Alaska Peninsula, west-northwest 15 knots. And that goes from Cape Sarachev all the way up to Sitkinak. Bristol Bay, west winds 20 knots, seas 4 feet. And the western Aleutians, Shimiatu and Kiska, east 15 knots. Amchitka, northeast of 15. Adak and Atka, northeast 10 knots, 4 to 6 foot seas. Unmak Island, northwest 15 knots. And Alaska Island, north to northwest 15 to 20 knots, 5 to 9 foot seas. And then for Monday, for the area Kiska to Shimia, east at 20. Small craft advisories over Amchitka Island, east 25 knots. About the same there for Adak and Atka. East winds 20 to 25 knots, 4 to 9 foot seas. And on Alaska Island, east-northeast 15 to 20 knots. Unmak Island, easterlies 20 to 25 knots, 4 to 6 foot seas. Southwest coast, let's go south of Nunivak Island. Winds will be northwest at 15 knots with 3 foot seas. And also the Pribilofs northwest at 15 with 4 foot seas. North 15, St. Matthew Island, seas 3 feet. Yukon Delta coast up across the St. Lawrence Island zone to the Bering Strait. Northerlies at 20 knots. Norton Sound north at 15. And for Monday, west-northwest 10 knots there for St. Lawrence Island, Norton Sound. And the Yukon Delta Coast west at 15 knots, and the Kuskokwim Delta Coast south of Nunivak Island northwest at 20. Otherwise, St. Paul, St. George, St. Matthew Islands, north winds 10 knots, 3-foot seas. Eastern Beaufort Sea Coast tomorrow, east-northeast at 15, northeast 15 on the central coast, north winds 15 knots there from the west coast down to Cape Thompson. Cape Thompson to Wales, northerlies at 20 knots. And then the outlook for Monday, east winds 20 knots, central and east side, west coast, northwest 15, 10 to 15 knot northerlies from Cape Beaufort to Wales. And for tonight again, up North Slope Arctic coast, areas of low clouds, fog, maybe some flurries, no accumulation of significance. Scattered showers over the central and eastern interior become even less scattered and pretty isolated south of the Alaska Range with some clearing for the south central Alaska zone. Chance of showers scattered around the panhandle, variable clouds, dry over the Bering Sea with high pressure, areas of low clouds and fog, winds light. Same forecast, Bristol Bay, Kodiak Island, some clearing and dry conditions. Taking a look at tomorrow. High pressure dominates the Bering Sea and the Aleutians. Dry conditions, light winds, only low clouds and fog, and that's about it. System staying farther to the west. Chance of isolated to scattered thunderstorms, eastern interior tomorrow afternoon with showers, mostly cloudy skies, especially in the afternoon, all the way down the southeast coast. And really no change for the north slope, light winds, low clouds, fog, maybe some flurries. Outlook for Tuesday, less of that up there on Tuesday, maybe a little bit of clearing for the north slope, scattered showers eastern interior, risk of some scattered showers over the southern panhandle, otherwise partly mostly sunny southern Alaska, chance of showers in the interior.
These forecasts are for planning purposes only. Call 1-800-WX-BRIEF for a formal pre-flight briefing. Always file a flight plan before you go flying. The U.S. Coast Guard Auxiliary urges you to leave a float plan with a friend or the harbor master before you go boating.